Out of Ireland, we do maybe 35, 40,000 ski holidays a year. We've got two major tour operators. Both of them are on stage here who deal with the market, but we also have a strong independent sector. We also we go to basically 4 or 5 major European destinations in large numbers. Oddly enough, most countries will go to a close neighbour. If you go to the British, look at the British ski market, most people in the British ski market will go to France. It's quite close. We do large numbers to France, but our number one destination for ski is Austria, which is a bit of a surprise considering it's a slightly longer flight. And we also do big numbers into France, into Italy, and we have smaller numbers then into Norway and into North America. Lots of things have to be considered when you're considering your ski holiday. One of them is that no two resorts are going to, even within the same country, are going to be the same. One of them is the level of ability that your own skiing is at, or you expect it to be at the end of the week, and also will the resort cater exactly to your level of ability. And it's quite a complicated process, and I've never quite got my head around it myself. But luckily enough, I've got a few people here to help get our heads around, our collective heads around it today. Orla is from the Crystal, which is one of the two major tour operators that sell ski in Ireland. We have Aileen, who is representing several, the Ski Club of Ireland and several regions of Austria that she represents. Catherine Murphy, you will read her in the Sunday Business Post about ski. I'm fair to say that she is the most accomplished ski journalist in Ireland, and she's probably the only specialist ski journalist in Ireland. The way ski journalism works, there's about 20 people who get invited to major openings. The only one from Ireland you'll see on that list is Catherine Murphy. She is the spokesperson or the writer with the most experience. And Anthony Collins from Topflight. Topflight have been selling ski in Ireland, Irish-owned tour operators, selling ski in Ireland for over 30 years, something like that, Anthony. You haven't been selling it for 30 years. Okay. When you open a ski brochure, Orla, what's the first thing you should look at? If you've never skied, if you've never been near those poles, and you're never been near a mountain, it's all very confusing because you get pages and pages and pages of ski resorts that look the same, and they've all these beautiful pictures, usually taken from above the mountain of our town, which means very little to. So what are you looking? How would you guide someone through that initial ski experience?
The brochures that we have really are just guides at the moment. So I really think that your best is to ring Crystal Ski, our reservations team, because all the people on our reservations teams are skiers, are snowboarders.
They've all been out there.
They've all been there. You know, I've worked 20 years with Crystal, so I've been to about 19 of the resorts skiing personally myself, but I've also been to a lot of the resorts just to see them as well during the ski seasons. But my staff go skiing as well.
So expertise is the first thing you should
look. It's the expertise, and it's to know exactly what you're looking for as well. Like, everybody's very individual, so every skier is very individual. So, you know, you've got the young people that are looking for the après ski. Then you have the intermediate skiers that are looking for your doorstep skiing. So it's not about the nightlife for them. Then you have the young family, so they want the children to be taken care of. You know, is the ski lessons the same time as the mum and dad's lessons and things like that? So there's a lot of factors that you have to take into account. Because
and Aileen, right across Europe, are there generalisations? Generalisations are always dangerous, but there is a sort of a perception that France and Austria will have a different type of product as a country. I get the sense that accommodation in France would be way down the list of things that people look for in the ski resort, or in Austria it's more village towny sort of thing. What are the generalisations that we can take from this?
I think in terms of generalisations, if you look at Austria in particular, most of the hotels are family owned. And one of the things I've learned from Austria is that particularly when you go the first time, you get a great welcome. But when you go back the second time, you get an amazing welcome back to Austria. And that's the thing I love. And I think it's the reason Austria was voted best ski destination again last night. So I think Austria has that ambience that suits us as a nation. And I think it really works. I think France is different because there's an awful lot of purpose-built resorts, which aren't necessarily the prettiest, but having said that, they lead on to some of the greatest skiing. Well, it's not sometimes just that they're higher. It's the fact that the interconnected ski areas in France are the biggest in Europe.
Yes.
So if you're a good intermediate skier, as you say, and you want doorstep skiing, yes, categorise it, ugly-looking buildings sometimes, but you know what? The skiing's amazing. So it's all very, very different. Andorra's different again. Switzerland's different. A lot more chalets in Switzerland. Then you've got the Dolomites, which are all very different. So
very pink, very beautiful, very scenic.
Yes, indeed.
And then Livigno.
Well, Livigno is
fabulous,
amazing.
Duty-free.
Livigno means duty-free alcohol, guys.
It's worth.
It's basically duty-free alcohol. That's all it
It's worth
does.
the long journey.
I was back there last April. I loved it.
Yeah.
I think, Catherine, you told me it was the first place you saw frozen vomit. Okay, Catherine, you're on.
Never happened, wasn't me own. No, I hadn't been for about 10 years, and the transfer is the only thing.
Catherine, trends.
I'm trying to recover here, trying to recover. There is a
Sorry, I did promise no curved balls, and I've just thrown a curved ball. Okay, Catherine, the trends. It used to be a sort of a week skiing was what people did. You've seen a lot of divergence from that. City breaks thrown in there, people doing multi-resorts. All of that's got a lot easier, hasn't it, from the
the industry is changing a lot at the moment in preparation, I think, for the next 20, 50 years. And where we used to go skiing, it was just ski, ski, ski. Now, at a certain age, I like to do a few days skiing. Then I like to take maybe a city break. So, for example, if you go to Bad Gastein, you can take the train to Salzburg. If you go to Cortina in Italy, you can go to Venice. If you go to Lake Tahoe in the States, you can take a little trip to San Francisco, do a wine tour, all this kind of stuff. So there's lots of... It's all about mixing it up now. There's lots of non-ski activities. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
And dealing with the public, Anthony, the real key when somebody who's a specialist in ski holidays is knowing your customer, is it? It's finding out what they want and identifying it and narrowing it down to that.
Yeah. Well, I suppose for us, we're Irish family-owned tour operators. So the first thing we've done before the customer even comes to us is kind of narrow down the range to what we think works best for the Irish market. And then I'd say for somebody who's new, I think the big mistake that often people make is to try and do it on the cheap. So they say, well, first holiday, don't want to spend too much, maybe we'll go self-catering. And actually, it's a difficult holiday first time around. There's a lot to think about. And my recommendation would be actually spend a little bit more. Go for something that's catered, whether it's a chalet or a hotel, so you don't have to think about those things. And then actually, as you become more advanced, you can begin to cut corners, and maybe the accommodation is as important because you're going to be up on the mountain all day. But for the beginners, maybe think about it almost as a non-ski holiday and pick a resort that works for you and a hotel that works for you, and then the skiing on top of that.
So look at the facilities first, and then the ski comes second. Yeah. And then the other way around, well, the accomplished skier will already be familiar.
As you get more advanced, you're going to know what you want anyway. But it certainly is the mistake, and I think especially with when families are travelling and they've got a lot of kids with them, it's an awful lot of work on the first couple of mornings, and to throw into the mix, having to organise getting supermarket for breakfast and dinner and all of that, it can take away from the enjoyment. So I think go up a notch for your first holiday, and then worry about, as you get expert, you can pick something else.
Getting people there, what are the air routes you guys use?
It's the same probably as ourselves and Crystal. Most people are flying from Dublin to either Salzburg or down to Lyon or Geneva, and that's the two big routes. So you're going to find most people travelling there at the weekend. Most ski destinations in Europe operate on a one-week basis, usually Saturday to Saturday. So if you can get into a ski resort on a Saturday, fantastic, because they're lovely and quiet as people change over.
And one thing that's really important is the length of the transfer.
Yeah, so Livigno, we love it, but 3-4 hours on the bus, especially with kids, or especially the morning after, the night before on the way home. Other resorts, you can get into Geneva and down to places like Chamonix in about an hour. It's not the only consideration, but definitely a consideration, especially with kids.
Yeah, and you guys have upped capacity by 20%, I think, this summer, winter. And you guys have upped capacity by 20%. Believe that.
The best tips for enjoying ski and snow holidays at the Eoghan Corry Travel Summit in association with Dublin Airport. This is located at the back of the hall, and everybody is welcome to attend.
That's great. We're already underway. We're ahead of time. You're upping capacity by about 20%, Orla,
Yes, we
yeah.
are indeed, yeah. We also fly Dublin to Innsbruck as well. We do Dublin to Chambéry and Geneva for our
You
French
have a
routes as
Chamonix,
well.
which is
And our
closer to
Switzerland.
Val d'Isère, Val Thorens, all
It
of
is,
those.
yeah. It's about an hour off from the Geneva, or transfer time, so it's quite
And
good.
tell me about Andorra. Everyone used to go through Barcelona. They are now go through Toulouse.
Yes, we fly on a Sunday to Toulouse, so it's a large aircraft
Sunday.
with Aer Lingus. It's a chartered base, yeah, so it's quite a large
And is that
aircraft.
because the roads are quicker into Andorra?
The roads are quicker as long as there's no big snowfalls at the weekends or anything like that to stop
Yeah.
anything. But we're pretty good on the ground to handle anything like that if that it happens on the weekends.
And Aileen, a week out, it's expensive to learn to ski. A week, your first steps on the skis out in after you've travelled out.
Yeah.
So you're a great fan of telling people that Kiltiernan, get your legs, learn how to turn, learn how to stop,
Yeah.
all of that. That can be done before you leave Dublin.
Yeah, but I was thinking about what Anthony just said there, and I think one of the things is, especially for holidays or people going on their first ski holiday, it's a whole new language. So it's not only learning what a pair of ski is, what end do you hold them up, what a pair of poles is, what the boots are like, and it is a whole new language. Everything you learn, it's quite incredible. You get used to it very quickly. And that's why, particularly with families, to be able to bring your kids up, especially when you have small children.
Yeah.
When you bring your
How
kids
young
up to
can you start
Kiltiernan,
them skiing?
You can bring, they have fabulous kids lessons up in Kiltiernan on a Sunday morning. And to see 60 kids up there learning how to ski, little kids, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's just a pleasure to watch them. And, all the instructors up there, they're voluntary. And what they do up there as well is they kind of imbue a sense of the love of skiing to everybody when they're up there, because they're all fanatical skiers. That's why they're up there. And I do think that bit of investment in 4 lessons up in Kiltiernan for your kids and for yourself, it helps with what you talk about, Anthony, going in your first ski holiday, trying to deal with the luggage, the skis, everything. So I do think it's an effective shortcut.
Well, I was that kid.
You learned up there,
I
didn't
did
you?
learn. I was the kid up there learning to ski before we got on
There
our
you
first
go.
holiday. Yeah.
And my 4-year-old
and-
just started as well. So.
And your instructor is still teaching up there, Anthony.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to Anthony's instructor. That's a big
Her name is
takeaway.
Therese.
Her name is Therese.
Yep.
Catherine, the gear, should you buy, should you rent? How does it work?
No, your first ever trip, I think my first ever trip, my gear belonged to everyone,
Everybody.
all my friends, totally mismatched. You don't know whether you're going to fall in love with the sport, so it's better
hate
to
it.
beg, borrow, and not steal.
And renting.
And you can buy very affordable, these days, can't you really? You can kit yourself out for less than a couple of €100 or even less.
But the boots are really important because boots can torture
It's
you,
your
can't they?
most important piece of kit for skiing, yeah. But again, it's not something you buy really until you've
No.
skied a few times, so maybe 3 or 4 times.
And what sort of people go skiing? Is it
People like us. Yeah.
is it a it was okay, it was let's face it was a second holiday really. It's never going to be your primary holiday. So during the recession,
for me, it's a primary holiday. Yeah.
holiday.
Really?
Yeah.
My family would be their primary
Yeah.
ski holiday.
primary ski
yeah.
holiday.
But Owen, kind of maybe answer your own question, because you've fallen in love with skiing. You've been all over the world and you've become
Fallen.
addicted to skiing.
The emphasis in this phrase is fallen.
No, that's tobogganing.
Yeah.
But you do become addicted to it. It's that sense of being in the mountains. It's the pleasure of the snow. It's the pleasure of waking up some morning and there's a silence because there's been a big snowfall. It's the magic of being on a chairlift by yourself. You do fall in love with everything that's about skiing. It's just magic.
And you're surrounded by this amazing scenery where everywhere you
Absolutely.
turn.
And even if you can't ski, and maybe there's people listening who don't want to ski, they can't ski, to go out and do some winter hiking or do snowshoeing. Snowshoeing is just a fabulous thing to do. If you're a non-skier
Yeah.
or you just love the snow and you don't like the slush in Ireland,
I
go
see
out
the
and
same
do
portfolio
snowshoeing.
of activities in most ski resorts now. You get the
Yeah.
ski do, the husky driving.
Yeah.
Anthony, how do the prices work? You pay for the pass? Do you pay for lessons? Do you pay for ski hire separately? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so no matter where you're staying, whether it's a cheap apartment or the best hotel in town, everybody's going to need a lift pass. That's a pass that allows you onto the lift system and covers the maintenance of the mountains and that infrastructure. They tend to be the most expensive part outside of your hotel. And then if you don't have ski equipment, you need to rent some. And if you don't know how to ski or you want to improve, you'll take some lessons. So typically that's going to be 350 to 500 euro for all of that. Although, as Aileen said, with the, if to get into a resort, there's so much going on without that. So I was listening to Catherine before, in the session before, and she was talking about being in Antarctica and being surrounded by white. You know what, next weekend, 350 euro will have you down into a resort in France, up in a lift the next morning, and you will have something very, very close to that experience.
And this is a bit cheaper than the 11,500 you paid.
It's a little bit cheaper, yeah. It's on our doorstep, but so I think people think you can only go to a ski resort if what you're going to do is get down there and spend 6 days pounding the slopes. These are incredible places to be, regardless.
Yeah.
And price-wise,
totally
that's it. You're 350.
What are the guide prices, Anthony?
I think, well, it's been a funny year this year. It started off with some poor snow conditions. They have improved immensely. We've got some of the best snow we've had in years, but the hoteliers have already discounted. So next weekend you're going out from anything from about 350 quid for self-catering up to about 500-600 for nice hotels. And over the course of the season, it's not going to be much more than that. I mean, generally, a really nice hotel is going to be about 1,000 to 1,100 per person.
And what will your pass cost, and what will your gear cost?
The lift pass and equipment rental and ski school is going to go somewhere from about 350 euro for a bundle in a cheaper resort up to about 500, 550 in a more expensive resort with lots more skiing.
And Catherine, chalet versus hotel?
Oh, I think personally I'm a chalet fan, I have to say.
You're a chalet
it's
fan.
a real home from home. Controls your costs, doesn't it, when you get free wine with your wine's included with your meal, basically. Lovely home cooked food. Quite often they're ski in, ski out. They might be kind of on the slopes, but and you get to mix with. Like if you've got a big group of friends going away, it's great. You're all in the one place together. But if you're just a smaller group, you get to socialise with the other holidaymakers. Maybe find new friends to meet on the slopes and go skiing with and stuff like that. So
And Orla, what mistakes do people make when they're choosing their ski holiday? When things go wrong, what are the mistakes the punter makes when they're going through that decision-making process?
They kind of maybe give up on the Wednesday in their ski lessons, and they kind of bit tired, and they say, do you know what, I've had enough of it. It's their first ski holiday, and they've kind of said, do you know what, I'm not really taking. You really need to persevere, especially for your first ski holiday, yes. Don't give up. It's usually the third day that a lot of people tend to say, I'm a bit too tired now, I'm not going to take it. It really is practice, practice, practice. And if you have a partner that's a very good skier, let them ski themselves. Stick to your own ability, basically, as well.
Right.
Don't be led down the black slope.
Because in my home, there's 4 of us. My 4-year-old is just starting to ski now, so he was in
how's that
Sestriere.
working?
He's great, yeah. We were in Sestriere last year in Italy, so that was in the part of the Milky Way. So when my 14-year-old and my husband were in the Milky Way over in Sauzidu, I was obviously in Sestriere. My father came with us last year as well, who was 70 for his 70th. And it was his first time, well, it was the second time really to go to skiing, but he hadn't done it in 10 years. So, who's had 2 heart attacks.
That is really important. You don't have to be young.
No, you don't have to
I met
be
a guy
young
in
at all.
Lermoos who's sadly deceased now, but many years ago.
He's had 2 heart attacks, and I said to him, "How are you coping, Dad?" Because Braden was in the beginners babies class, and my dad was in the other beginners babies class, on the opposite sides of the slope. But it was just lovely to see the 2 different generations. You know what I mean?
And he loved it.
My dad said it was just all about balance, Orla. That's what he said to me. It's just all about balance. But it was actually a great holiday for us to go on as well, because we had a babysitter as well at night time to have a few drinks. But
Sounds like heaven. Aileen, the size of the ski area is one of the big developments of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You've got what used to be hundreds of small ski areas.
Yeah.
In almost every country there's been link-ups.
Huge changes. Andorra, it probably is one of the interesting ones that happened a few years ago, because there were 3 different resorts in one area of Andorra. So you had Soldeo, you had El Tartar, and you had a place called Pas de la Casa. And they were sort of fighting families in a small little duty-free principality. And they finally realised from an economic point of view, get together. And as a result, Andorra stands very well among lots of ski destinations in Europe because it's all interconnected now. But then you've got Austria for start off, which is wonderful in terms of you've got 3 very big ski areas and a couple more besides. So you've kind of got the area with St. Anton, which is now linked into Lech. You've got Saalbach Hinterland Ski Circus, which is now linked with Fieberbrunn, so that's big as well. You've got the Ski Welt, which everybody knows because it's Westendorf and Saal and places. But then when you look at Italy, and you've got the Dolomiti Super Ski Pass, which is incredible, and then Sestriere and the Milky Way. There's so many big ski areas, and then you know when you go to France. And you've got just phenomenal skiing in France. They're the biggest interconnected ski areas in Europe. And then you've got superb skiing in Switzerland as well. I know Switzerland is a little bit more expensive, but the changes that's made...
Expensive is an understatement.
I know, but the changes that it's made, it means that if you're a very good skier, you can go to a resort, but yet if you're only a beginner skier, you can still go to the same resort and enjoy it at a lower level.
Exactly, and you can also do there's Cervinia in Italy as well,
Yeah.
and you can actually ski into Zermatt there for the day as well.
That's
so if you
right.
buy the area lift pass, you know, and you can always upgrade your lift passes as well when you
And
get to
we have
resorts
a
as
question
well.
for the audience. So this is your show, by the way. I'm not doing all the questions. If you have any question, put your hand up. These guys, we're privileged to have them together because we have the best brains in ski on the stage here.
You really do, and I'm very grateful to you for it. It's been very informative so far, really. I have a question. I know Aileen, in particular, is going to kill me for
Oh my God, what are you
asking
going to do?
this. But I'm one of these people I haven't booked anything this year. You know, I'm lastminute.com as usual. I haven't planned anything. I don't know where the good snow is this year. I haven't even been on the internet to check out where the vacances scolaires are for the French kids to avoid them. Have I missed the bargains? Have I missed?
Absolutely not.
No, definitely
There's amazing bargains even sort of this weekend. I saw something on the Topflight Facebook page yesterday for I think it was Morsey. No, it was somewhere in France.
Chamonix.
Yeah, Chamonix for I think it was $2.99 or something ridiculously cheap like that.
So we'll get
I
you-
think you know if you look at the Crystal and Topflight websites and Direct Ski, if you look at their websites, their Facebook page, I think what's important is that you link into their social media. Or else you talk to your local travel agent because they get the deals on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So that's a really good way to do it to make sure you're up to date, just in case you're not a big social media fan. But go to your local travel agent gets the deals from these guys.
Anthony?
Then if you want to look another way, you need maybe to say if you're going independent, look at the airlines, and sometimes maybe if you go, a lot of the Germans, say in Austria, the Germans kind of ski 3 days. They head down Friday morning and they go back Sunday evening. And a real good trick is to fly out and go Monday to Thursday if you're just doing a short break, because some of the hotels are prepared to be a bit flexible. You know, most people go on the 7-day. So there's ways of doing it. And the other great time, avoid half term unless you have to. It's families and teachers, and I'm not insulting any teachers in the area, but it does put pressure on half term. So if you can avoid half term and you don't have to go
And
half
when
term.
is half term this year?
Half term is the 18th of February.
And it's the 11th of Feb is from the north as well, so
Yeah.
we do have a
Right.
lot of people
And
going
when
out
is
on the
Paris?
11th of
Really busy.
Feb.
Paris is around the 5th, is it? That's the one to avoid, isn't it? The
Yeah.
busy midterm.
Yes.
That's the start.
If you can, it's full. Most people are nearly full.
Yeah,
You've only a
but-
few seats left.
Yeah, but it's
full
not too
the
bad this
18th.
year. What we've had in a couple of years is where the school holidays across Ireland, UK, Europe kind of come together and you get some real peaks.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more spread out this year, and deliberately so. And the UK is kind of spreading the school holidays out a bit. So you're not having quite the same sort of
Yeah.
level of demand, which means that for kids, for this midterm, there's still good deals to be had if people want to bring kids away. I know we've got lead-in prices and Topflight starting at about €550, which you wouldn't normally expect to get discounts there. But it said the poor snow at the beginning of the season has certainly helped the pricing
Yeah.
because some of the hoteliers were kind of holding off and then are realising, look, the hotel's there, we do need to discount, and those prices flow through to ourselves and to Crystal. And I think Aileen's dead right. Social media is definitely the place to be watching. That's where the best prices will come most quickly, and they do get snapped up quite quickly.
And do you do email shots as well?
Email shots going out, but you don't want to be bombarding people. So it's sign up to us, sign up to Crystal.
So social media, just log it.
But the Facebooks and Twitters is
Facebook,
definitely, yeah.
and Twitter.
And your travel agent.
And your travel agent.
Can I just follow
And
up?
Orla,
Sorry.
I want to bring you in on this as
All
well. Tracking crystals. Sorry, Catherine. Tracking crystals offers. Where's the best place? Do you do e-shots or do you
We
sign
do
up for
email shots. We also do have our Facebook as well for Christmas
Right.
Ski Ireland as well. So yes, and our travel agents get deals, 3 flyers a day. So on our deals as well. So
3 flyers a day to the
Yeah,
agents.
to all of the
So
deals
really,
on
that
the
travel
weeks,
agent is
yeah.
going to be on top of the game.
Absolutely, as
great.
well, yeah.
Sorry,
I
Catherine.
just wanted to follow up on what Aileen was saying in terms of travelling maybe Monday to Friday. There's a lot of emphasis this year. If you're not going for a package week-long holiday, a lot of emphasis on flexibility. Like companies like Pierre Vacances, there's a lot of focus this year on allowing people to come shorter amounts of time, longer amounts of time.
Yeah.
Flexi ski, you can fly from Dublin. Sorry, competitor. But, so there's lots of options. A lot of people now don't have the time to go for a week. They want to go for 4 or 5 days. So.
And sometimes what they do is, I've noticed a lot of people, they go on a family holiday, but then they want to go by themselves or go with the lads or go with the girls for a spa, ski spa or something like that. And to answer a question, you can't beat Paddy's Week on the slopes because, and especially if you go and bring all the Paddy's Day gear, they all think we're mad anyway.
Yes.
But there's nothing more fun during Paddy's Week is to go away.
Because this is our holiday.
I'm going
Nobody
to
else
Sol
has it.
Paddy's Week. Sol in Austria, Sol, I should say, they actually do the slopes in green. They colour all the slopes green. They have night skiing with the green lights, everything. They have music in the bars. It's a great place to go for Paddy's Week.
Great.
I'll be there.
Anthony and Orla come back in on the side of the organised the package because the T word, the dreaded T word, that transfer can cost you more than the cost of your holiday.
Well, there's the price, but there's also, you asked the question about, are we flying into Barcelona or Toulouse to get to Andorra? I think if you go with a package tour operator, a company like Topflight or like Crystal, in some ways it doesn't matter because what happens is, as happened last weekend, the snow falls, that means the roads are busy, everybody's running late. You know what? We ring the airline and go, we're running a bit late, can we delay the aircraft by 2 or 3 hours?
Yeah.
Or the traffic is really bad getting out of Andorra down to Barcelona, can we divert the aircraft to Toulouse? And that's the sort of stuff that happens. We will get you to resort, we will get you home, and it mightn't be exactly when you expect it. It might even be the next day, but you've got somebody working on the ground with the capability to move things around to make it happen. And at the end of the day, you are flying into destinations where you hope there's going to be a lot of snow, which means that there's more risk of things going wrong than your holiday to the Costa del Sol. So I think when everything runs well and the roads are empty, independent versus package, maybe there's not much to it. But when things begin to go a little wrong, and they do, having a reputable tour operator behind you is absolutely key.
Anything to add there, Orla?
It's also when you have your
bonding.
reps there as well. If
Yeah.
you have reps, so if you did, had an accident or anything like that, you have your reps that would be there to help you with a language. If you were in Austria or in France, if you needed an extra seat, which we've had a few this year, if you needed an extra seat on the aircraft to come back, we'd organise that as well through your reps and things like that as well. So there's a lot to be said to go.
How many
with
people
to go
come
with
back
the
in
tour
crutches?
operators. I'm not going to say.
Catherine, insurance. It's a bit of a quagmire, getting insurance. What's your recommendation to people about insurance?
Wow, you need
Just
it.
definitely have it and read the small print. It's very
Yeah.
important. Like people often go for the cheapest policy, and that's not
Right,
necessarily.
and what's excluded from the cheapest? What get-out clauses do these insurance people have?
Oh,
Well, you need to make
every
sure
sort
have
you can
winter
imagine. I think.
sports included
Winter
in your-
sports is
winter
the well, that's a
sports
given.
need-
You have to have the winter
That's a
sports.
given.
You
An
have to
annual
book it.
insurance
And it is
policy.
it is more expensive. So if you have an annual policy with your VHI or whatever your annual policy is, you need to make sure that they have winter sports because it is extra on your policy to have that each year.
I would
But
also,
also-
recommend the E11 card. It's
Yes.
really important your E11 card is up to date
Yeah.
when you're travelling.
But also, if you make sure that your
Europe.
policy covers you for non-ski activities that you want to do, and also if you ski off-piste, which I like to do, you have to be very careful that you're covered.
Separate policy, yeah.
Whether you're
To
covered with the
translate
guide or without
Aileen's
the guide.
advice into 2017 language, the EHIC
Is
card.
the European,
Is that what it is
European
now?
healthcare. isn't it?
Yeah.
Still says E11 on mine.
Yeah.
But are there other little things you can watch out? Because I've heard of instances where the hospital will demand upfront money even though you are insured in some countries.
Well, last year, I was with my 4-year-old and he actually got altitude sickness. So we were in Italy. We actually had to go to France for 2 nights with my 4-year-old because he had altitude sickness.
Sorry to hear that.
So, do you know what? We had E11 forms there, and our travel insurance with the VHI, and we were completely covered. I didn't have to worry about anything. There was no access, no nothing. I was completely covered. I didn't have to worry, and that was for me to stay with him as well in a private room in the hospital as well.
Was there an issue with Andorra, Aileen, with hospitals? They were selling some extra €4 a day cover to get you sorted on top of your holiday
I
insurance.
have to say now, I did have an accident in Andorra, and I thought they were wonderful.
Right.
The triage, let me tell you, in most ski resorts,
a lot better.
It's a lot better than in Ireland.
Exactly, than A&E.
It really
here,
is.
Well, they do sometimes take you down off the mountain straight to the private clinic. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
You know, straight into the private clinic, and there's one price for if you're insured, and there's another price for if you're not insured. So it's all very. You've got to be sure to carry your.
So you have to say public.
Yeah. You've got to have the emergency number with you. You've got to call them within 24 hours.
You
They're
need
the
to
most
be
important
prepared.
thing.
Yeah.
What are the bookings telling you, Anthony? Are Irish people changing their skiing trends, or is it very traditional in the same way that we've done over the last 10, 15 years?
Well, first of all, it's on the up. So I think ski holidays took a real battering in the when recession hit, and we're a long way away from getting back up to the numbers we were, I think. But I think patterns have changed a little bit. And one of the things I said, we select or try to select destinations that we think are right for the Irish market as an Irish company. But one of the things we like about the British market is the chalet experience, which Catherine mentioned. So we've been, bringing that in, setting up our own chalets and trying to introduce the Irish market to that. And really, we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years that has gone, gangbusters for us. So this is an experience where, as Catherine said, you've got a house where you're sharing with maybe a couple of other couples, or you have it to yourself or 1 or 2 families. Somebody is there to cook your breakfast, make you your afternoon tea, serve you dinner. You can have your breakfast in your PJs, and it's just a very relaxed, all-inclusive experience. So it's a bit more expensive than a hotel.
Catherine used to be one of those.
A chalet girl.
Do you concur with that, Orla? Move towards chalets in the Irish market?
We've actually seen a bit of a growth in the all-inclusive market as well. So even, a lot of the families seem to be liking the all-in. So you get your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and your drinks included as well, till about 10 o'clock at night time as well. So, and that's when majority of skiers do go to bed, especially families, it's at 10 o'clock at night time.
Come in from Africa.
And what's the price? What's the price difference between a chalet and a hotel?
It depends on the chalet. So a lot of our chalets would be in France. So they'd be in like Val d'Isère and Tignes and those upmarket kind of resorts as well.
So is it 20-30% more?
You'd be talking about €200 more expensive.
200 more, yeah.
On average for different.
You recommend it very
stages.
highly.
It's the style of chalet. You can go to a mid-range chalet with home-cooked food.
Yeah.
You can go to a chalet with more gourmet food.
We had a great
Have we any more
experience in
questions
a
from
chalet.
the floor? Everybody happy? I'm going to ask the 4 people here for the name of their favourite ski instructor here. Actually, I better.
I'm not saying that aloud.
Your favourite resort, Orla?
I think I fall on different resorts every time I go to them. So I have a passion, I suppose, for Austria still. So
Sol,
St. Johann.
Saint Johann, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We're in Austria. Aileen?
I'd go for those, but I also love Lermoos because of the mountain there. But I suppose my real favourite
Ghost
is
Mountains.
now Bad Hofgastein because I love the spas as well as the snow.
Okay, that is another thing, the amount of spas that are in ski resorts. And Catherine?
I'm just back from there, so I have to say 3 Valleys of France. It's just vast.
Where, sorry?
The 3 Valleys. So it's
3 Valleys,
Val Thorens, Maribel, Les Monouir, Courchevel.
Yeah.
It's just vast, awesome off-piste, and the standard of accommodation is really improving in a lot of French resorts now. So the little small apartments of before were kind of a thing of the past. Happy,
Yeah, I saw you shaking your head when I talked about this accommodation in France a little while ago. So that's
it's really changed a lot.
yeah.
They've got a lot more 4-star hotels, 5-star hotels.
Anthony?
Well, I think I've shifted on this. I think, I grew up going to the Austrian ski resorts. I repped in one for a season, and they
Where
feel
did
like
you rep?
home. St. Johann.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
Right. I see a pattern here, yeah.
yeah, well, you don't, the Collins family, you don't get to pass go without doing at least one season working overseas. So the brother, the sister, myself, we've all done it. So that was it. But France, when you get up in the morning, you get up into those mountains, and when you have 500 or 600 kilometers apiece, one of the things that you don't maybe appreciate is the crowd spreads out, and you feel like you have the mountain to yourself. And those high rises that don't look very pretty from the outside, when you're on the 15th floor of a building up in the mountains and you're looking down the Tarantays Valley, and you know you can maybe see 30 kilometers of mountain. It's fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Forget the aesthetics and think of the view.
When you're inside looking out.
Sam
yeah.
Stevenson, eat your heart out. Thank you very much, ladies. Three ladies and one gentleman. And thank you for a great session on ski. Thank you very
you all.
much.
No problem.